Thank you for purchasing the Debt-Free Planner model. Let's take a look at how the model works. In the first tab, named Guide, you will find a link to the Harmony Sheets Etsy store. You can use the support function there if you need assistance or have any questions about the model. There are also video links throughout the model for quick access whenever you need them. The Setup and Dashboard tab is where we begin. When you open the model for the first time, you will notice that the Highlight Input Cells feature is already activated. You can deactivate this by unchecking the checkbox at any time. The yellow cells are editable input cells, highlighted to assist you as you familiarize yourself with the model. Let's start by setting your currency. Simply select your currency from the drop-down menu or type in your own currency symbol if you prefer. We will return to the rest of the dashboard setup for payments and payback strategies soon, and take a closer look at the dashboard after we input our debt information. The next tab is where you input all the details for each of your debts. Let's take a closer look by adding a few debts. I start by naming it a suitable name. Then I'll add the starting balance, the interest rate, and the payback time. Student debts are installment loans, which means the loan has an agreed interest rate and payback period with set minimum payments. Therefore, the loan type selected will be installment. Other examples of installment loans include mortgages for homes and properties, car loans, and consumer finance loans. My monthly payments are due on the 20th of each month. I'll expand the Optional Settings field and select a more fitting icon for my debt. If we scroll up and take a closer look, you'll see that the model calculates your monthly minimum payment and displays the payoff date for the debt. It includes a field showing how much has been paid so far. Next to the icon, there is a progress graph that updates when you make payments. Additionally, there's a short table summarizing the remaining principal, which, before any payments, will equal the starting balance, the estimated remaining interest you need to pay in addition to the principal. Then we have two calculations for the amount of extra payments made on that loan and the estimated interest savings those payments have generated. If we scroll down, you will find a payoff profile for the debt, followed by the complete payment schedule with all the monthly payments. You can easily check off a payment when it's done and add extra payments. All the tables and graphs will update accordingly. I will now proceed to add a few more installment loans for my house, car, boat, and a consumer finance loan. When adding your debt, you have two options. You can either add the debt as if it were incurred today, using the current debt balance as the starting balance, with the next payment as your first, and the loan term as the remaining time left on your loan. Alternatively, you can use historical values, starting from the date you made the first payment. If you choose this method, remember to check off all payments made so far in the payment schedule to ensure the loan reflects the current status. Now that I have added all of my installment loans, I will proceed with my revolving debts. First, I'll add a small personal loan granted by my family. This loan carries no interest and lacks a structured repayment plan, but I intend to start making monthly payments of $50 on it. As I select Revolver from the loan type dropdown, the input field labeled Loan Term Length changes to Minimum Payment. I'll enter my $50 payment there. Next, I will add my two credit cards that I aim to pay off completely. Credit cards are typical examples of revolving loans, which usually don't have a fixed repayment term but require a small minimum payment each month. I also have a third credit card, which I use for daily expenses and always pay off in full each month. Since I use it as a short-term liquidity tool and intend to continue doing so, I will not include it in my debt-free plan. Credit cards can be an excellent tool in a well-managed personal finance setup if used correctly. They often offer benefits such as cashback on purchases, discounts, travel insurance, and various other perks. However, they also pose a significant risk due to high interest rates, often exceeding 20% if balances are not paid in full each month. Consequently, using credit cards for long-term financing can become extremely expensive. Now that all my debts are set up, let's return to the dashboard for a closer look. We've already set the currency, and below that, we have the payment month selector. Typically, the Today checkbox remains selected, allowing you to monitor current payment statuses. However, you can also check the payment status for any month by selecting it from the drop-down menu. The Paid This Month field in the Debt Summary table will reflect the payment status, and the model will highlight the selected month in the payment schedules, making it easy to locate and verify payments. By activating the scripts, you can enable the automatic Paid at Due Date functionality for any of your debts. This feature automates the tracking process, particularly useful if you have enrolled your debts in autopay with your bank and consistently make regular payments. This makes it even more convenient to use the model as a monthly tracker. The third input field in the dashboard is the Strategy selector. For now, I will set it to minimum payments, meaning that I will only make the minimum monthly payments required by my loan agreements. The last input field is for monthly payments. You must at least make your minimum payments to service your debts. The initial minimum payments are displayed below this field for guidance. Let's go ahead and enter that amount. As we scroll down, the first graphic we encounter is a horizontal bar chart for debt payment. This chart clearly shows that my car loan has been significantly reduced as I've entered all my historical payments for it. As you make payments, the bars will progress toward 100%, indicating when a debt is completely paid off. Next, there is a pie chart displaying the relative sizes of all your debts. Further down, we see the development of the loan balances represented in stacked bar charts, illustrating how each loan will decrease until fully paid off. Below this, a second payoff chart displays similar information. However, this chart illustrates the payoff trajectory when you select an express payment strategy for comparison. Since I have chosen minimum payments as my strategy, it will initially appear identical to the minimum payoff chart. Let's have a closer look at the two express strategy options. First, we have the snowball method. This is how it works. First, list your debts. Begin by listing all your debts. Second, make minimum payments. Continue making the minimum payments on all your debts. Third, allocate extra funds. If you have extra money from the start, direct that towards the smallest debt first, regardless of the interest rate. Once the smallest debt is paid off, use the amount you were paying on that debt to tackle the next smallest debt. This process snowballs as you progress from the smallest to the largest debt, enabling you to allocate increasingly larger amounts towards each subsequent debt. This method can be very motivating as you quickly clear smaller debts, reducing the number of debts over time. The Avalanche method works in a similar way. However, it is even more effective because it prioritizes debts with the highest interest rates first, thereby potentially saving more in interest payments. We can easily see the benefits of these two methods by scrolling back up and selecting the strategies from the Strategy selector. You'll notice there are significant savings to be made in both the payback time and the total interest paid for both the Snowball and Avalanche methods. With the minimum payback method, I will become totally debt-free by March 2049, paying a total of almost $364,000 in interest. Meanwhile, the Snowball strategy would only require me to pay $217,000 in interest and make me debt-free more than a decade earlier compared to the minimum payments. The Avalanche method is even more effective. The effects are also very visible when comparing the minimum payoff plan with the new express payment strategy. You can also supercharge these strategies if you have room in your budget to set aside even more money each month than the initial minimum payments. Let's say I have $5,000 that I could spend on debt reduction each month. Once you have selected a strategy, the model will guide you in the Payment Schedule tab to the debt that should receive the extra payment and suggest the amount you should direct toward an additional payment. The model accommodates up to 10 debts. If you have more than this, such as multiple smaller credit card debts, you might consider refinancing as an option. One approach is to consolidate high-interest rate debts into a single loan with a lower interest rate if possible. If you find yourself unable to pay off your monthly credit card balances, you could end up in an expensive debt spiral. We can simulate this with the model by setting a very low monthly payment while the debt has an interest rate above 20%. Under these conditions, your debt grows faster than you can pay it off, leading to an exponential compounding effect. This smart debt-free planner will alert you to such scenarios and can help get them under control by suggesting a higher minimum payment. Both the snowball and avalanche methods leverage this compounding effect in reverse, gradually increasing your financial capacity to pay back debts, thus creating positive momentum if you consistently follow through in the long run. If your debt situation feels overwhelming, it may be wise to contact a professional for guidance. Reaching out for help is an excellent first step. Please note that the model assumes all debts are at fixed rates. If your interest rate changes while you're paying off a debt, you can adjust the model by treating it as a refinancing. Simply transfer the amount you have already paid on the loan to the Already Paid field found under Optional Settings. Then update the loan as if it were a new loan, including the new interest rate, a new start date, and the remaining years until it's paid off as the new loan term length. The amount you enter into the Already Paid field will not affect any graphs or calculations, but will update the total paid sum displayed above your debt icon. This adjustment allows you to keep track of your total payments effectively. That's it for this instruction video. If you have any further questions, please reach out via the support function at the Harmony Sheets Etsy store. It might seem a bit complex at first, but once you have set it up and revisited the video a few times, you will quickly become familiar with how it operates. You can use the model as a simple simulation tool to see how quickly you could become debt-free, or to determine your debt capacity in combination with a budget, ensuring you don't take on too much debt. Alternatively, you can use it as a debt tracker and update it monthly as you progress. Thank you for your purchase, and good luck on your journey to becoming debt-free.